Ayan. Good day, everyone. We are Group 3 BNMers. We are tasked to have a report on materials of construction, specifically non-metals. And the content of this report will be an introduction, types of non-metal, industrial application, guidelines on material selection, and lastly, the technical and economic consideration. To introduce this, non-metallic engineering materials, it will include polymer, ceramics, glass, and composites such as fiberglass and carbon fiber. Um, but this report will focus more on polymers and ceramics. Um, these non-metallic materials have special qualities that are advantageous in many sectors such that it is a struggle without these materials. Um, for the latest trends for the following materials, for polymers, they more focus on the uses and some properties such as strength and how to utilize it more. Um, while on ceramic, they are looking for more uses of the following materials, ceramics and more. Um, study of blue shows more modification which improve the ceramic production and efficiency. For as we all know, ceramics are brittle, and we will know more about it for the next set of presentation.
So next are the plastics. So what are plastics? Plastic polymers are crafted organic compounds that have been joined to form long chain, large molecular weight molecules that can be easily processed. So plastic polymers primarily fall into two basic families. So we have thermoplastics and thermosets. So next, um, what are thermoplastics? So thermoplastics are a family of polymers that can be repeatedly heated, changed in shape, then cooled and solidified. So typical polymers within this family are polyolefins, polyvinyls, and fluoropolymers. So next are thermosets. So unlike thermoplastics, these materials cross-link during initial processing and cannot be reheated and reshaped. So upon reheating, thermosets will not melt before they reach their decomposition temperature. So thermosets are typically more rigid than the thermoplastic polymers. So some example of thermoplastics, we have the polytetrafluoroethylene, chlorinated ethylene propylene, polyethylene, pro- polypropylene, and many more. So for the thermoset, some examples are epoxy resins, silicone, polyester resin, polyamide, and others. So next, we have the tables indicating the properties of the plastics. So for the first table, we have the permeability coefficients. Permeability coefficients at 25 degrees Celsius for oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and water vapor in a variety of polymers from Callister 2007. So in the first column are the types of polymers. Next column are their acronym. And then for the third column, we have the permeability coefficients. So second table, we have the room temperature mechanical characteristics of some of the common polymers from the Callister 2007. So first column, we have the materials or the polymers. Second, their respective specific gravity. Third column, respective tensile modulus. Fourth, respective tensile strength. Fifth, respective yield strength. And sixth, respective elongation at break for each of the polymers. So next table, we have the melting and glass transition temperatures for some of the more common polymeric materials from also the Callister 2007. First column, we have the materials. are polymers. Next are the glass transition temperature. And then third, the respective melting temperature. So for table, we have the mechanical properties and relative cost of the polymers from Toller and CNOT 2008. So first column are the materials or the polymers. Second, the respective tensile strength. Third, the respective elastic modulus. Fourth, the respective density. And fifth, the relative cost. So fifth, from Paris, we have the typical thermoplastic properties. So for the first column, or under the first column are the parameters, and for the other columns are the types of the thermoplastics. So sixth table, also from Paris, we have the typical thermosets, fiber reinforced laminate properties. So under the first column, we have the proper parameters or the properties. And then for the other columns, we have the types of thermosets.
Moving on to the second type of nonmetals, we have ceramics. Ceramics came from the Greek word keramikos, which means burnt stuff. This is an indication of how it is made through firing a high temperature heat treatment process. They are also known as inorganic nonmetallics. Ceramics are compounds consisting of metallic and nonmetallic elements. They are also considered to be more complex in comparison to metals as they are a combination of two or more elements. Moving on to the types of ceramics, first we have glass and glass steel. As we all know, glass is hard, brittle, and usually transparent. It could be made from sand, limestone, or sodium carbonate. They are acid resistant with the exception of hydrofluoric acid and hot concentrated phosphoric acid. However, they are susceptible to thermal shock. They could only be used for designs below 700 degrees Celsius, and they are also not suitable for pressures exceeding atmospheric pressure except when it is used as glass lining. For the next type, we have brick construction. Bricks are made from clay sediment, known as bark clay. It consists of hydrated silicates of aluminum found in bodies of water such as lake sediment and riverbeds. They can withstand heavily corrosive conditions, so they are good for designs with that conditions. So they could also be altered to make acid-resistant bricks, which compose of carbon, red shale, or acid-resistant refractory materials. Due to spalling, however, red shale bricks are to be used at low temperatures, not exceeding 175 degrees Celsius. For high temperatures, we could go to acid-resistant refractories as they can withstand temperatures until 870 degrees Celsius. For the next type, we have porcelain and stoneware. They are made from kaolin, feldspar, quartz, and clay. In comparison to glass, they are more resistant to acid and chemical, but with this, however, they are more susceptible to thermal shock. Next, we have soil, which is used for settling basins and waste treatment ponds. Last but not the least, we have cement and concrete. Some cement materials such as polymer resin, silicate, and sulfur base are used together with brick. So, silica and silica-filled resins are not suitable to be used with acids, and cements made from sulfur and resins could only be used at low temperatures, specifically 93 and 180 degrees Celsius. For high temperatures, however, we could use cements made of silica as they could withstand temperatures until 1000 degrees Celsius. Portland cement concrete are not to be used for designs involving acids and bases. However, if our designs involve this, we could use corrosion-resistant materials for our cements. Refractories are capable of withstanding high temperatures, which makes it suitable for equipment such as fired heaters, high-temperature reactors, and boilers. For the next slides, we have phase diagrams for ceramics with different compositions. We have more phase diagrams. And lastly, we have tables indicating the properties of ceramics which could be considered for our designs.
So, dun nga, so nakita naman natin yung maraming compositions and many properties of plastic. And because of that, plastics have a wide range of applications in the construction industry with owing to its versatility and strength to weight ratio, as seen in the properties listed above. In the areas of constructions, they're mainly used in pipings. Sa pipings, polyvinyl chloride and polyethylene yung ginagamit due to its resistance to chemical corrosion. Um, uh, with in terms of water, kaya when you see kapag yung sa mga, pag nag-iigib ng tubig, PVC yung mga ginagamit or kunyari yung mga kulay blue na lalagyan, PVC yung ginagamit kasi hindi siya nag-react with the water, and then it's highly um, durable and cost effective. Um, it's also resistant to high temperatures and pressure. And not only they are corrosion resistant, they are easier to install. Not only that, it can also be used for insulations sa mga piping kasi mataas yung thermal resistance ng um, pipes. And then claddings rin and then seals. Kasi when it comes to sa water talaga, and then other among other things. Sa ceramics naman, they are used mainly mataas yung corrosion resistance nila, and also very resistant sila um, the with solvents. So kunyari kapag kunyari mataas yung turbulence ng isang pipe, for example, this one dito sa bends, ang ginagamit ay may ceramic lining kasi hindi siya magko-corrode. It will resist corrode. And then kapag pipings naman yung ginagamit, usually ginagamit siya for mining, dredging, and everything that has solvents and high temperatures. Kaya kapag kunyari tinignan mo sa mga scrubbers, for example, wherein we have gas particulates na kapag na-dissolve sa solvent, um, ano siya, corrosive siya. And then, most likely, mataas rin yung temperatures. Um, Ceramic pack bed yung ginagamit minsan. And makikita mo na rin yun sa mga toilets. And also that, it's also very resistant to ano, pagkakaroon ng biofilms na magpapasok dun sa mismong piping. Kaya kapag nakita mo sa mga toilets, ginagamit ceramic yung mga toilets. Ganun.
Here I'd be presenting the step-by-step guidelines on material of construction selection. So these steps are lifted and modified from Peters and Timmerhouse. So for number one, we have to identify what industrial process we will be applying the material to. And then second, we need to have the summary of the design specifications of that equipment for a specific process. And then um, we will have to undergo preliminary selection of materials. So that includes going through empirical data, manufacturer's data, literature, and laboratory tests. So in checking those references, technical aspects such as mechanical properties, chemical properties, and thermal properties must be considered, as well as standards that we will be listing on later on. And then next is laboratory testing. So if a company has a good research and development, um, labor- laboratory testing is usually conducted. So this is to simulate plant scale process conditions to laboratory scale. Um, but um, a company can also use laboratory test data from uh, outside the company. So from that includes studies or projects outside the company. So next is the interpretation of laboratory tests. So this is to know the effect of process variables such as impurities, temperature, pressure, agitations, and etc. So that when we scale up to industrial processes, we can approximate the effect of those process variables to the process. And then economic comparison of selected materials. So that includes the material and maintenance cost, lifespan, and salvage value. And then lastly, perform the final material selection. So after um, narrowing down the choices based on technical aspects and economic aspects, you have to choose the best um, balance between the properties and the economics or the cost of material. So there are references here used in the so there are references here from Peters and Timmerhouse as well as Towler and Synod for chemical resistance of plastics in various solvents, um, filtration media, equipment selection, and then we also have design data for packings of separation columns, as well as the critical surface tension for packing materials. And then here are the list of standards and references that we can use in um, materials of construction selection.
Okay, so lastly, let's move on to the technical and economic considerations when choosing and using plastics and ceramics or nonmetals in general as materials of construction. Okay, so for the technical considerations for plastics, let us refer to a review by Agarwal. Okay, so let's an understanding on the durability and strength of plastics, as well as their resistance to UV, resistance to fire, and temperature range, is important when choosing the most suitable plastic material for the intended application, whether it be for cladding, for insulation, piping, or structural components. For example, outdoor applications or exposure to UV radiation can degrade certain types of plastics. However, we have UV-resistant plastics, and these should be selected for outdoor construction applications. We also have to take note of the corrosion resistance of plastics. So plastics are generally chosen for their high corrosion resistance in aggressive chemical environments. Additionally, compatibility with other building materials and systems is crucial to prevent issues like galvanic corrosion and material degradation over time. Proper installation techniques, including fastening methods and sealing processes, are also important, and regular maintenance and inspection protocols should be established. As for the economics of plastics, the global economy of plastics in construction is a significant and growing aspect of the global plastics industry, which is worth at least $1 trillion annually. Plastics are used extensively in the construction sector due to their cheapness, durability strength, being lightweight, and resistance to corrosion. The construction sector is responsible for about 20% of plastic consumption, with 45% of post-consumer recycled plastic used are being used in the building and construction industry. Detroit stated that only 2% of plastic packaging is recycled back into packaging, with the vast majority being landfilled, incinerated, or ending up in the environment. Additionally, it is noted that 30% of all plastic packaging items on the market today are deemed too small or too complex to be effectively recycled, necessitating significant redesign and innovation efforts. For example, research has shown that incorporating recycled waste fibers in cement-based composites can result in cost savings and enhance resource efficiency. Moreover, the use of plastic waste composites in construction materials has demonstrated benefits such as increased compressive strength and improved durability, providing a cost-effective alternative to traditional materials. Now, for the technical considerations for ceramics, let us refer to a review by Carberry. Okay, so for ceramics, we have to understand their mechanical properties, such as their brittleness and hardness, and their excellent chemical resistance. Utilizing excellent thermal insulation properties of ceramics in construction projects is also a good factor to consider, as well as the surface finish and coatings to enhance their durability and performance and protection against abrasion, corrosion, and weathering. Okay. Appropriate installation methods is also considered, such as handling, cutting, and bonding, and the dimensional stability of ceramics must also be understood, such as factors like thermal expansion and contraction to prevent issues such as cracking and warping. Also, maintenance requirements and the cost effectiveness of ceramics must also be understood. Other technical considerations, ceramics, including glass, can develop internal and surface cracks during the production process, which can act as stress concentrators and result in lower tensile strength. The ASEAN ceramics market is estimated at about almost 34 billion US dollars in 2016. The market is expected to grow due to the considerable growth in construction infrastructure development activities. Ceramic materials are in high demand in the construction sector due to their hygiene and durability, with low maintenance and high resistance to environmental conditions. Ceramics, due to their high density, have been reported to improve the hardened state properties of concrete, even when completely replacing natural aggregates. By integrating recycled ceramics into construction materials, the industry can decrease waste generation and promote resource conservation. Ceramics, including waste materials like bricks, tiles, and porcelain, offer opportunities for sustainable construction practices through reuse and recycling. Lastly, to improve the economy of plastics and ceramics in construction, stakeholders can focus on implementing efficient recycling and waste management systems to maximize the reuse of plastic and ceramic materials. Additionally, investing in research and development to explore innovative uses for recycled plastics and ceramics in construction applications can further enhance their economic viability and contribute to a more sustainable construction industry. That is all for this report. Thank you for listening.